Alrighty, hello there and welcome. We are getting the pieces in place. Alrighty, so we've talked a little bit about automation before, but I want to up the game a little bit for us, right? Because a lot of us end up feeling overwhelmed with all of the repetitive tasks we have to do, and they're an important part of our business or organization's operations. But let's face it, we all need more hours in the day, right? And we want to focus on growing our audience, our business, managing things, serving our clients better. So automation tools are a good way to do that. And we've talked about ways to do that with social media, but I'm going to broaden the scope a little bit here because there's a lot more that automation can do to help you with your daily business. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to use if this, then that, and Zapier as an example, but there are other ones out there. So let's go ahead and get this party started.
So watch our channel, come and see and laugh and learn, and you'll agree you'll make your tech life easier with your tech coach.
Alrighty, so here we go. We are going to talk about automation for our businesses, our organizations, all that kind of good stuff. We're going to specifically look at if this, then that, and Zapier, but there are other options out there. But these are the two kind of standards that are out there, and a lot of what we'll talk about here is going to apply to those as well. So, shall we get started? Sorry, I want the doggo to settle. There we go. Alrighty, so let's talk about this from the beginning, right? So what are we talking about with automation tools? So automation tools are, or platforms, depending on how you want to look at them, are ways that you can connect different apps and services to help you automate repetitive tasks, workflows, that type of thing. Now, they could do other things, but as far as business goes, this tends to be the most helpful solution, right? So specifically, automation tools like if this, then that, which is usually listed as IFTTT, and Zapier empower my fellow solopreneurs, freelancers, entrepreneurs, group organizers, small, medium businesses. You know who you folks are. We all sort of fall under that same umbrella of having lots to do, trying to meet all of the needs, but very often being just us or a very small team. So these kinds of tools give you a way to automate those repetitive tasks, a way to integrate your apps so that you're not having to manually do things to move stuff between them. But most importantly, it gives you a way to free up time to focus on what matters most. And the result of using these kind of tools is things like greater efficiency, fewer errors, cost savings, right? Improved scalability, all of which makes these really essential tools for anyone seeking to streamline their operations, maximize their productivity. So what are we talking about, right? What kinds of things can you do with this? The big answer is almost anything you can think of. But specifically, let's talk about things like, email management, right? You can auto sort, tag, forward emails, calendar scheduling, social media scheduling, or responses, your CRM updates, right? Syncing contacts, logging interactions, triggering your follow-ups, project management, which is huge, right? So create tasks from emails, update your boards, set reminders, things like invoicing, payments, auto generate your invoices, track your payments and do the follow-ups. Customer support, you could auto respond to initial inquiries, log tickets, escalate, but you could also use it to help you do the things like very often, just as an example, right? So if you're doing meetings in something like Zoom or Teams or whatever, and you do recordings, and then you want to store those recordings locally instead of on those services, because let's face it, the services can be a little wonky sometimes. So you could, very often then you're downloading it and then you're uploading it someplace else. Using these kinds of automation tools, you can skip that download upload process and just move it from point A to point B and be done. Save time, being more efficient, making it not a manual process anymore. Automating it, which means that you don't even have to think about it anymore. It'll just happen. All these are the things that we're shooting for in all of these different options that are out there. And the other thing about this is by using these tools, a lot of people, sometimes they'll feel intimidated because they're like, oh my God, this requires coding. But the point of these tools is you don't have to be a coder, right? You just need to know what you want to do, be able to sort of logically think about it a little bit, which is a big part of every day for all of us, right? And then these tools help you step through that process, and they offer other benefits, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But both of these tools and a lot of the other automation tools that are out there will just help you automate a lot of the routine stuff. And while each individual task may seem like a minor thing and, oh, maybe not worth the effort of setting this up and setting up another account, by automating them, you can free up a lot of time, and that gives you time then to focus on more strategic things or serving your clients, that type of thing, right? So we're going to talk about some options here, right? So let's get a little bit more specific. So if a new email arrives, you can add it to your calendar as a task, right? You can, if a customer posts on like social media someplace, you can send them an automatic, thank you, or you can, tag them, with a coupon code or something as a thank you for the fact that they're sharing information about your company. And you can make it specific. So like, you can tell like what kinds of things, like if they're, tagging you with an @ sign, if they're recommending you, you can handle it different ways. The other cool thing about it is the integration across multiple apps, right? So Zapier right now integrates with about 3,000 apps. If this, then that, supports hundreds of popular services, which means that you can combine almost any combination of commonly used tools to get more done without more manual work. And this integration also like helps ensure that seamless data flow between your platforms, so that if you do have a team, or if it's just you going in to do things in different tools at different points, you're sure that everybody is seeing the most recent information, and also maybe being able to skip some of the switching between apps or that duplicate work that you're having to do. You get enhanced productivity and focus out of this, right? So by automating those repetitive tasks, you now can take your brain power and your limited time during the day to focus on higher impact activities like client work, business development, creative projects, making your client, your audience, feel more seen, having more time to come up with those new ideas, right? Or do research on ideas. Automation, and this is a big one, automation also helps reduce the risk of missteps or missed processes, right? Because it handles those administrative burdens like invoicing, appointment scheduling, follow-ups, that kind of stuff for you. You may have the world's like best tools. You may have a stellar team. You may be the seller team. But we're dealing with humans, and the reality is sometimes things get dropped. Somebody gets sick, somebody goes on vacation, somebody just has a little bit of a brain fart, right, and just forgets to do something. These are all things that happen. So those are the things to look at first to see whether or not you can automate them, because then you're not going to have those issues anymore, because there is a tool that's out there and it's taking care of it for you. Now, are you going to want to follow up on that? Of course. Are you going to want to keep an eye on it to make sure that there hasn't been an outage, that there hasn't been errors? Yes. But my point is that by doing these tools and making these things work for you, you're going to end up with a more reliable operation process, right? And you're going to be spending a lot less time correcting mistakes. Who wouldn't love that, right? Alrighty. For those of you who are new here, I do want to just introduce myself really quick. My name is Kathleen. I'm here as your tech coach. The short version of the story is technology is my day gig. It's also my hobby. So friends, family, neighbors, coworkers tend to reach out to me when they have a question, when they have a problem, when they're looking for recommendations. And over time, they've recommended me out to their friends, family, neighbors, and coworkers, which I appreciate to no end. But it's also made me realize that not everybody has somebody like me to talk to. So hello, that's why we're here every week. Feel free to reach out if you have questions, if you have topics you want me to cover. You can go here, there's a contact form, and you can let me know what that is. All right, so let's keep going. Another benefit that you're going to get out of all of this is cost savings and scalability. So using automations reduces the need for maybe additional staff to handle some of those routine tasks or just get you out from being underwater all the time. And it'll help you grow your business because you're not being held back by the fact that you are one person or one small team handling things, because the automation can give you that extra power for very little effort or cost. Sorry, doggo. So that's like the big picture. That's what you would get from it. So let's get into it. What are we really talking about? I'm going to just kind of walk you through just a quick intro here of what you're seeing. So this is if then that, right? These are websites. They all have, free plans. Now the free plans are very limited. I won't kid you. And there's a lot of people who are unhappy because if this and that change their free plan, so it's a little bit more limited. But my point is, you're going to want to use those free plans as much as possible to get yourself familiar with it, because what's really important here is finding the right platform for you. Not every platform is perfect for everybody. So this is very, very important. Julio, hey, how you doing? I'm actually going to be at a meetup tonight to talk about automation. What are the odds? Oh, that's hysterical. That's great. I would love to hear how that goes for you. Please feel free to let me know. And hello, always good to see you. All right, so as I mentioned, they are, both free. But if you go in here, you're going to start obviously by taking a look at what they have to offer. And both of these offer, in addition to the ability to create your own custom ones, they give you jumpstart ones, right? So you can kind of go through to see, well, maybe they've already got something that meets a need for you, or will give you an idea on what you want to do. And you can also go to their websites to take a look at the different services that they have available. And of course, there's a whole bunch of them. So this is if this then that. And then this is Zapier. So again, it gives you ideas on how to do it. It lets you know, the different tools that are available, the things that they integrate with. So there's a lot of options here. And there are also ones that are, there for you that you can just use out of the box, or you can go ahead and take care of all of the things. For pricing, as I mentioned, there are free levels. So if this and that, you get 2 applets, definitely limited runs on that. So let's talk a little bit about that. When we're talking about limited runs, that's like how many times you can run it, how many steps it can have, that type of thing. Oh, no worries, Julio. Ooh, I can't wait to hear how it goes. You're going to be a rock star. I know you're going to do great. But yeah, so no problem. We'll see you when we can see you. But yeah, that's so cool that you're doing. I didn't realize you were doing the presentation on that. Awesome. I wish I could be there. I would love to see that. Okay, so that's what they're talking about when they say, limited runs, right? And also speed. So if you're on the free account, like the free account is critical. You're going to want to use that to get familiar with what it offers, but then you can go from there. And then, of course, there's different tiers of pricing depending on how much you need, when you need it. Not terribly expensive. Everything's relative. But if you think about it this way, like how much would it cost you to hire somebody to help you do this? Or how much is it costing you for you to do this? That helps, I think, kind of balance out the prices. Same thing here for Zapier. They have different levels, which are free forever, but, again, limited number of runs. Like in Zapier, you're limited to 2 steps. Now, you can get a lot done in 2 steps in Zapier, but it's basic, but again, it will give you a feel for how this will work for you. So you can set yourself up with 1 or 2 of them, go with it, see how that goes, and then work from there. And then they've got, different pricing tiers too. Now, I know somebody's out there going, okay, well, I'm just going to go with this, then that, because the prices are cheaper. And that may be the right solution for you. But what is important here is that you're getting the right tool for you. So when it comes to if this, then that, they're both a little bit different in how they do things. So depending on the size of your organization, what you need to do, there's different trade-offs in what both of them can do for you. But as a general statement, if you just need to do something that's pretty much like connecting one thing to another thing to do something, you're probably going to be fine with something like if this then that. It's a pretty straightforward kind of connection thing. That doesn't mean you can't be creative, but that's basically what it is. But it's like single trigger action kind of thing. Whereas Zapier is offers more multi-step, complex logic type of thing. So that's why, you're going to want to look at it, what it is that you are looking to accomplish, and that will help you figure out which tool is better for you. You may want to start off with something like if this, then that, a lot to say, to get rolling, to see how useful it's going to be for you, to kind of test the waters. Just be prepared that if you do find that you need something a little bit more complex, a little bit more, logic options, you may need to upgrade at some point over to something like a Zapier. So like everything else in life, nothing is perfect, but depending on your needs and your comfort level, one or the other type of approach will work for you, which is what we're all about here, right? We're making sure that you're getting things done the way that you need to do them. Let's see here. So yeah, we talked about the pre-configured ones, all that kind of good stuff. So let's just take another look here. I'm going to bring you in. I've signed into an account, so you can kind of get a feel for what we're talking about here, right? So what I recommend is when people start to use this type of app is that they first make use of one of the example ones. Because here's the thing, while you may be limited to 2 Zaps or a couple of if this then that automations, that doesn't mean you can only ever do the 2, right? So you can spin up 2, give them a test drive, and then, if you want to take it farther, you want to do a creative one, then delete one of those 2 and then go ahead with something else. But as an example, right? So quickly create events in a Google Calendar, right? Rotate your wallpaper. You can use this for personal stuff as well as work, but of course we talk about work here. Automatically create an archive for yourself, for historical reasons. Let's see. I'm looking for things that are work related, right? Forward your text messages to your email. That could be super handy. Tracking your hours or having your employees track hours. That could be super helpful too. Let's see what else we got here. If you receive an SMS, send an email to Gmail. There's different ones. If they've got things for specific tools, right? So if you're keeping an eye on something with a Wise camera, you can have that trigger for you. Let's see. We'll just look for some other options in here. There's a lot of different ones. And okay, so RSS to G Drive or Google Drive. Let's just go back up here. So you can search, if you're looking for ideas, you can go in here and you can search for different things or different tools or different apps that you're looking for. If you get into webhooks, there's a lot of functionality behind webhooks. Instagram, Twitter, all those kinds of things. Or if you want to narrow it down a little bit more, you can look for, applets. You can look at different services that are available, right? So Smart Cloud, AC, a lot of different things in here. And sometimes just going through these will give you ideas, right? There's stuff for Facebook. There's stuff for AI, of course, right? AI is everywhere right now. So you can just kind of flip through to see. Let's go back up. My keyboard's in the way here. There we go. And if you want some other people's ideas, this will help you trigger ideas. Let's look at it on the Zapier side. So this also offers pre-configured ones, and you can see, things that are used often, right? So that works with ChatGPT, Facebook, Google Sheets, HubSpot, Salesforce, Slack, a lot of different things. And again, over on the side here, they've got some categories to help you figure it out, right? So if you're looking for some help with your business intelligence, right? You want some help with your analytics, it'll give you a couple of examples here. If you're looking for stuff with communication, right? So let's see, let's look for, that's a good one here. Let's look for call tracking. Right? So again, what it taps into, what it'll offer you. There's little descriptions here on all this kind of stuff. Productivity. Right? So let's see. Product management maybe. Right? So product board, ZBuyer. There's a lot of different things and they're already out there, but then you can go ahead and create your own. And when you go in to do that, you're basically just giving it some logic. So if this then that is because if is your trigger, then do this, and get your result. And it's the same basic idea with Zapier. You're going to say, when something happens, do this thing or do these things. But with Zapier, you can say, you can put in a time break, right? So do this step, wait a day, then do this next step. Or, you could do it more of a logic thing, right? So do this, when this thing happens, if it's positive, take this branch. If it's negative, do that branch. That kind of thing. I am more than willing to do a deeper dive on these kind of things for you, but I just wanted to kind of get your brain thinking about how this might work for you, what options are out there. And that's why I started with these two, because these are the two that most people see first. They give a try first, and then they kind of move on from there. As I mentioned, if you have ideas, if you want me to do more about this, then let me know in the comments. And just for reference, I also did set up the Patreon, so you can go ahead and sign up there. There's free tiers, there's paid tiers, and we're going to start to do some deeper dives on these kind of topics there. So if you want that, you can go ahead and sign up there. Join the party. There's going to be a chat and all kinds of stuff there. But I can't do like a super deep dive like, in this short amount of time here, but I'm more than happy to do really deep dives, in here for anybody. And we can tailor it more to what it is that you're trying to accomplish, so that you kind of get a little bit farther with that idea of, okay, well, this is my pain point. This is the thing I would like to see fixed, and kind of take it through there. As always, for you folks that power through to the end, I really do appreciate you. So here's a couple of other ideas. The first being that using these tools can give you a competitive edge, right? So the marketplace is fast-paced, whatever you're working in, right? So speed and consistency matter and make you stand out a little bit more, right? So it's the difference between, if, say, somebody reaches out to you or has a question, the difference between answering them in a week or answering them in a couple of hours can have a huge impact, create a huge positive feel for you and what you have to offer. So this is the type of thing to look at automation for, to see if it will work. Now, is automation the answer to everything in the universe? Of course not. And any more than anything else is a single answer to anything. But there are parts of whatever you're doing that would probably benefit from this and take some of the load off of you. So automation can lead to faster response times, right? To customer inquiries or leads, and it can also make your content delivery a little bit more efficient as well. And this all can give you just that little bit extra of a competitive advantage that may make all the difference, because you're now going to be competing on a more even level with maybe larger companies or groups or organizations out there. You can also use automation to monitor, right? So monitor trends, monitor references, to you. Keep an eye on competitors that are out there and what they're up to. So that can provide very valuable intelligence, and may spark some new ideas for you on how you can stand out. It's also a really good way to improve overall compliance. So things like GDPR, you can automate, removing somebody when they ask you to remove. Because it's more than, like, a lot of people are, when I say this, they're like, oh, well, my email handles that. But email is only part of it, right? Sometimes clients, when they're asking to be removed, they want all their data gone. They want any history gone. So you can take what's happening in your email, work that into your automation, and then also do the other things, so that you're being more complete about it. You're complying fully with whatever it is, but it's not so much manual stuff for you. So hopefully this has sparked some cool ideas for you. And like I said, if you're interested in a deeper dive on any one of these, please feel free to reach out. I'm perfectly happy to go through and walk you through creating these, show you some things that maybe I've done in the past. Just have to de-identify some of them because a lot of them are for clients. But just feel free. You can go ahead and jump into the comments and let me know. Or you can go ahead and reach out here, and I am going to follow up on that for you based on what your feedback is. So go check these out. The links are in the description as always. And let me know what you're thinking or how you're using, or if you have a preferred automation tool, please share it, because you may be able to help somebody else out. And that's what we're all about here, right? We're a community trying to help each other out so we all are achieving our goals. All right, everybody, have a good one. As you can see, the doggo is very chill tonight. He's had a very busy day. So he is in recovery at this point. No, I'm not the tech dog. But we both thank you, and we hope you are going to have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Bye.